Hey guys, welcome to Scruff's Garage. I'll do a quick one for you today. If you ever have the drivetrain out of your Corvette doing a clutch, that sort of thing, it's a good idea while you have it out to pull apart the torque tube and inspect the rubber couplers on the torque tube or the draft shaft that rides inside the torque tube. There's a bearing at the end. You get the rubber coupler at one end and then another rubber coupler at the other end, and what you're looking for are cracks in the surface. So if this rubber's gotten hard, if it's lived a hard life, you've got a bunch of miles on it, if you start seeing a bunch of cracks in there, you'll need to replace these couplers. You can get OE replacement rubber ones. They make aluminum ones. That's up to you. Obviously, if you go to a solid coupler, you know, these are here to absorb vibrations and noise and harshness, that sort of thing. So if you go to solid ones, while there's no play in the drivetrain at that point, you will get a lot more noise from the drive shaft assembly, more resonance and that sort of thing. So that's up to you. What I'll show you is how to get that drive shaft out of the torque tube. And you have to forgive my garage. I've got parts everywhere. For my engine build, I've just got parts rolling in left and right, keeping the UPS gap pretty busy. So this is the transmission end. So there are 10 what are essentially like bell housing bolts that go around. So that torque tube assembly bolts to this. You've got your shifter linkage. So there's a Torx head bolt here that connects to the shifter linkage on the torque tube, and this is aligned. There's a groove here, so when you slide that shifter linkage comes along here, it slides over this, and when that bolt goes through, it aligns itself right here through that groove in this shaft. So that's how that stays centered in place. So you get all those bolts out, you get this taken loose, and then at that end, which is the clutch engine end of the assembly, you also have to take out your slave cylinder. It's just 2 bolts that hold the slave cylinder in, and that slides off the end of the input shaft, which is this end here. The real challenge, what makes this such a difficult job, if you want to call it that. I'll set this down for just a second and I'll get a flashlight. I apologize. So in here, get a bad glare on that. You see there's a groove in here. There's a giant snap ring that fits in there. Here, I'll show you. That's this snap ring here, and this thing is a beast to get out of there. You'll need a really large pair of snap ring pliers. These are snap-on. At something like this, they were just a little bit smaller. They just didn't cut it. These had a little bit of an angle to the end, and that worked for me. You'll have to fight with this. I spent a couple of nights fighting with this to get it out. You've got to compress it enough that you get it outside of the groove, and then it slides out. And then the drive shaft assembly just slides out. That's what holds it in place. So you just take this end and hit it with a rubber mallet, and you'll drive it out this way, and it will slide out of the torque tube from the differential end of the torque tube. So it slides out this way. And then reassembly is the same way. You'll slide it in, use a rubber mallet to get it as far in as you possibly can, and then you try to get that beast of a ring back in there to lock it in place. And clean this out really well while you have it out. Like I said, inspect your bearings and the couplers, And that's the long and short of how you take apart the torque tube assembly. Keep in mind, I should mention, I think this clip style started in 2001. So if you have the 97 through I think 2000, I think it's a bolt-in style. I don't have one of those, so I can't compare. But I think this style started in 2001, so probably 01 through 2004. I'm not sure what the C6s look like, but anyway, I hope that gives you a visual. It's really not that bad. You'll just spend a lot of time fighting with this guy. So good luck. I hope it helps.